Hey there, Val here. I'm back with some awesome VRChat worlds for you to check out. Specifically today, we're looking at VRChat worlds which use some form of photogrammetry. Typically by consumers, it's used in like a photo camera where you use the AR sensor plus the photo camera to take realistic photos of an object as well as some of its 3D data. You can then pull that 3D data out of the phone and put it into a program like say Blender or Unity and like turn it into a VRChat map or an avatar. You've most likely been to a world along the lines of something like my bedroom or 3D scan of my bedroom. These are photogrammetry worlds. They use the technique of photogrammetry to essentially get a 3D model of the area or of their room or of whatever the heck they want, and then they import it directly into Unity. Some of these worlds look pretty good, apart from some of them looking a little janky. I've got a couple examples of some photogrammetry worlds that pull off this mix between actually making the world and also using the information from the photogrammetry to create something that's really unique. If you like the world in the background or any other world I've spoken about today, you can take a look in the description and I'll have a link for all of them. Or you may notice I have my skateboard with me, and that's because we're at the Southbank Undercroft. So the Southbank Undercroft is an IRL location that's in the heart of London. As you can see, there is a metric ton of graffiti. I think a lot of these photogrammetry worlds are being used as a way to sort of archive and preserve some of this art. The Undercroft itself was created as part of the Southbank Centre in the 1970s in London. From there, it sort of grew into like an underground skate scene and was eventually appropriated into an actual cultural hotspot in London. And there's even an association called Long Live Southbank, which aims to preserve the historical nature of this skate park. It's quite impressive, the history of this place, but as you can see, it's beautiful. So it is a 3D scan of this entire Undercroft area. In recent times, the Undercroft has been completely renovated and like painted over, and you know, there's a fresh set of walls for artwork to once again be reapplied to it. It looks really good in the background as a blurred background, but once you start looking a little closely, you know, the cracks do start to show. Some of the lighting fixtures or the corners of objects aren't exactly like perfectly captured with the software, which means a lot of this stuff ends up being jagged. But that's going to be an issue with literally every single world that we're going to visit. Other than being culturally relevant to the underground skate scene here in London from the 1970s, which makes it quite old, the art on the walls is probably the main reason you'd want to come here. And yeah, Southbank Undercroft, come check it out. It's pretty cool. Let's move on to our next world. All right, welcome to Graffiti Tunnel. This is a super long tunnel, absolutely filled to the brim with various graffiti. Now, unlike the Undercroft, this one doesn't have high quality photogrammetry, so the actual pictures that were taken to be used for the 3D models aren't that great. Typically, you know, for VR, you usually want something that's like absolutely monstrous in terms of pixel density. So this one did come out a little blurry, but as you can see from behind me, it doesn't look that bad when you blur it out. But you can probably tell from the B-roll shots that it's a little worse for wear. So yeah, for this one, I'm not gonna stay here a whole lot. It's just a cool example of how photogrammetry can be used even in like a massive area. Everything's there. You can run all the way to the end and back. Takes probably a good 30 seconds to actually get from one end to the other. Might be a good place to host a party, but to be honest, just in terms of the quality in this one, it's a little weak, but that's okay. We're gonna move on to our next world and maybe see something a little bit cooler. All right, so yeah, as I said earlier, a lot of these worlds you might know without realizing it. This is called My Basement, in parentheses, 3D scan. Yeah, I mean, yeah, a lot of these My Basement or My Room worlds are typically done quite quickly, as photogrammetry is a fairly long process. Even a small object sometimes requires thousands of individual pictures, which you all need to like amalgamate, and they're not always in the proper location. Sometimes there's like issues with the AR and how it sees specific things or the angles that you're taking the pictures at. It's hard to accommodate for everything, so it's cool to see worlds where someone uses a specialized 3D scanning tool rather than this. Man, damn, this guy likes anime. What the damn. If you have this much anime in your room, I mean, listen, I'm not judging you. This guy has like arcade cabinets in his basement. This is actually kind of a pogger's basement. It kind of reminds me of mine, except with about 98% less stuff in it. Anyways, dude, nice basement. I'm kind of jelly, but also, holy shit, that is a lot of anime. Anyways, let's move on to our next world. Right, welcome to the Zeniarai Benzaiten Shrine in Kanagawa Prefecture in Japan. I butchered the entirety of that, but hey, this place is absolutely insane. The amount of space here and the amount of stuff that was actually 3D scanned is kind of wild, but it's apparent that this one was created wicked fast, because in terms of jankiness, this is probably the jankiest one that I think we've seen so far. This place was created all the way back in 1185, as stated by the entrance to this area. However, I think many contemporary historians in Japan would say that they're unsure of the actual origins, so it's possible it's actually older or younger than is marked, which is pretty crazy. So in around 1257, there began a sort of tradition here where people would wash their money in the hopes of multiplying it. It's said that the spring can multiply your money. It's basically like an IRL money duping glitch, which is kind of insane, but yeah, I don't think it actually works. But hey, if you come here, bring your V-Bucks or your Robux, and you might double it, you know? Totally not a RuneScape money doubling scam, you know? Yeah, overall, I think this is how photogrammetry personally should be used. I mean, to preserve historical relics, to, you know, bring people to a different location or a location that's interesting IRL that you might not be able to visit or have time to visit or whatever, or somewhere that you might not think to visit, that you can then get a 3D scan of, make a world of it, and you can essentially have a near one-to-one replication of like the distances between buildings, etc., and really gives you the feeling that you're actually in that specific location. I won't ruin it all for you, but it's very impressive. I would say take a walk around here, bring your money, and get it doubled. Anyways, enough of this before I have to say more Japanese words that I don't know how to pronounce. Wow, let's go to our next map. All right, welcome to Elevator. Yeah, Elevator. I mean, I don't think I'm gonna need to do any flyby shots of this one, because this is it. This is the whole world. That's all you get. I wanted to include this one as an example of photogrammetry in a confined space with extremely high image depth. So as you can see, probably just from these little shots I'm showing off of this place, the actual image quality on some of these graffiti images is actually insane. You can almost see like the texture on the ground or the texture on the walls and stuff like that. It's pretty impressive. It looks pretty realistic, especially if you know, throw in some focus in there and zoom in a bit. The place looks almost real, in my opinion. It looks almost real. It's almost there, just missing a little bit. Yeah, I thought we'd stop by here quick and do a little fast little show off of this, just to show you that photogrammetry doesn't just have to all be jank. It can be very pretty. Anyways, we got one more map to go, so let's take a look at our last one. All right, welcome to our final world. This is the third Battery Ruins. So this is a 19th or 20th century ruin located off of Osaka Bay in Japan. We're getting a lot of Japanese worlds today, but I guess it makes sense. These are some of the prettiest to see. This one goes a step further. It actually tries to photogrammetry like the terrain and the vegetation, which, I mean, as you can see, comes out a little bit scuffed, but the rest of it pretty intact, looks pretty awesome, especially this building over here to my right. I mean, from afar, don't get too close. With a lot of these worlds, if you get just a little bit too close, it looks great in VR, but yeah, once you get a little too close to it, it starts to kind of look like shit. As you can see behind me, compared to say like this picture, which is an actual picture of the location, it looks like I just put the picture on the background, but it's not. It's an actual 3D world where I can go into these areas and stuff. So kind of cool if you're, you know, I don't know, like a history buff or something like that. This might be an interesting location to come visit, especially considering how nice it looks from certain angles. The person who did the work for this really spent a lot of time here. I can tell just based on the fact that I can like see cracks in the building and missing bricks and all that kind of stuff. Really impressive in terms of actual 3D scanning. I'm not sure if this was done professionally or if it was done with the camera. Out of all the worlds that we've shown today, this is the one I'd personally recommend taking a look at. This one is hella optimized. It looks absolutely amazing. It's got great lighting. So I guess that's it for today's impromptu history lesson. All right, so there you have it. Some awesome 3D scanned or photogrammetric, I think. I don't think that's a word, whatever. Photogrammetry worlds that you can explore on your own, and a bit of a history lesson to go along with them. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe. I also stream on Twitch. You can take a look at my Twitch link to see if I'm live. If you want to see more of me, you can take a look here to see my last video, or take a look here to see the oldest world currently in VRChat. If you want to see any of the worlds I visited today, take a look in the description. And yeah, I'll see you guys later. Bye.